let's start out with what is a Checkride? What is a Checkride? So a moment ago, I used the term showing, right? It shows well. That's what I used. And if you're in real estate, a big part of your job, if you're an agent or a broker, whatever the proper name is, what you do is you do a lot of showings for clients, right? There's open house. You're showing things, okay? You're selling. An open house is basically you're showing something that you want to sell to the public. So let me ask you this. How important is it, or how important would it be to make sure that the showing shows well? What would you say? How important is it to the whole process of selling a house? Now, some might say the showing's not all that important. It's about what the house actually is made of or looks like, or the condition of the actual home, right? That's what's important. That's what the client's going to live with for the rest of their life. And you wouldn't be wrong. That's also very important. But what I'm specifically talking about here and what I want to focus on is the selling process of the home. How important is it to make sure that the showing shows well and that the house is presentable during the open house when the public is coming by to look at this house and to figure out whether or not they want to buy it? It's extremely important. It's the first impression that people have with this house. And often it's the last impression, right? It's not like they're coming by every Tuesday to see the house and eat dinner there and hang out on the patio and barbecue and get a feel for the home for about a year, and then at the end of that they decide if they want to buy it. It's the kind of like the first and last impression. So people in real estate understand this, and really all salespeople. That first impression, the showing, exposing that thing to you that I wish to sell you, is extremely important, and a lot of attention and detail needs to be devoted to it, which is why when it comes to Checkrides, there's lots of videos online, which I'm sure you watched, how to present yourself in a Checkride. Like people have their Checkride binders and you show up and you have the money laid out on the table, because Checkrides, just like a house, part of what we're doing on the Checkride, like it or not, I'm just speaking facts and reality here. I'm not giving my opinion whether I think it's right or wrong or I like it. The reality is part of what you're doing on your Checkride is you're almost selling yourself. And I'll explain to you why that reality exists. The reality exists that you're selling yourself on your Checkride is precisely because the system is made up in such a way where that DPE, the examiner, they don't know you. They've never flown with you. They've never seen you in your plane. They know nothing about you, unlike your flight instructor, right, who would sign off a month ago. Yeah, they're good to go. This DPE knows nothing. So if you think about it, this DPE is that potential buyer of the home who knows nothing about the home walking into the open house. And you are selling that house, and it's up to you how you wish to show the house. Does it show well? Does it show less good? And that's completely in your hands, okay? It's completely in your hands, just as much as a house showing is completely in the real estate agent's hand, right? They could make sure this house is looking great when people show up at Saturday at 11, or they could care a little less about it and the house will show less good. And again, that's the impression that will be given to those who show up. So on your Checkride, just to make sense of really what a Checkride is, the reality is part of what you're doing on your Checkride is you're selling yourself. You're a salesperson. And again, I don't want to make this sound like something it's not. It's not like you're a salesperson like, hey, I'm here to just sell my soul to the devil. No, but part of what you're doing is you're looking just like the real estate agent. Part of your goal on the Checkride is how could I make my DPE walk away from our experience together feeling good about me, as opposed to kind of questioning whether or not I'm ready to be a pilot. Right? The real estate agent is asking the same question. How could I have my potential clients walk away from this open house feeling good about the house, feeling confident about the house, feeling good and confident and secured and assured in the event that they want to purchase the house. How do I get them to make sure that they feel that they're actually spending good money here and when they buy the house? That's the goal, right? So when you show up to your Checkride, how could you make the DPE have all these great feelings? That's part of your job. That's part of your job. And part of your instructor's job to kind of keep that on the table and make sure that you remember that. Because flying a good airplane is great. Having that house be in excellent condition is great. But how much does that help with the showing during the open house, right? A house that's in great condition could not show that well if I don't care to make it show well. Just like a house in a bad condition could show well. Obviously, DPEs do it for a living, and if there's really no foundation or a rocky foundation, it will become very apparent within a few minutes of getting into the airplane, or at least within the first 30 minutes. But the reality is that part of what we're doing on the Checkride is we are selling ourselves. It's your open house, and the DPE is showing up to your open house, and they need to walk away with a certain good feeling in order to print out and give you that certificate. So the reason I want to start with this, or the reason I started with this, is because I don't know what type of training you're receiving. I don't know what your instructor is telling you or not telling you about Checkrides. And if you knew this all along, excellent. But part of what I want you to know is that, yes, you want to fly a good airplane on your Checkride. Yes, you want to know your stuff. Everything is true. Absolutely. The Checkride is, you're showing this examiner in a period of about a few hours. I don't know, however long it takes for your examiner to conduct their Checkride. You're showing them that you do have the skills, the ability to make decisions, the ability to control the airplane. All that's true. But through that process, you're selling yourself in the sense that the DPE will walk away and will feel one of two feelings: good about you or not so good about you. And that's the reality of things.